What is up, people? Today, our guest on the podcast is Javier Vazquez. Javi is a black belt in Jiujitsu, an avid competitor. He also competed MMA for quite some time, for many years, and actually had a UFC fight. His last fight was in the UFC, in which he won. He's a very good competitor, very good instructor. He does seminars all over the world, and the biggest thing about his jiu-jitsu is he is a big proponent of striking-based jiu-jitsu. Actually, that's what he calls it. And he's just a big proponent of practicing techniques with self-defense in mind, and not just doing movements, but doing movements that can actually protect you in a real street fight situation, which translates also into competition and so on and so forth. But he's a really cool guy. We had a blast talking to him. Our sponsors today are Inverted Gear and Chimera Coffee. If you want to save some money on some good coffee that is especially infused with nootropics, go to chimeracoffee.com. Chimera and coffee are spelled with a K. And type in the coupon code showtheART. Buy anything you want, type in the coupon code, save some money, and tell us what you think. Next sponsor is Inverted Gear. Go to invertedgear.com and purchase anything you want. Jiu-jitsu rash guards, gis, shorts, they got it all. Go to invertedgear.com, type in the coupon code showtheART1515, and you will save some money. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Just in case, and I'll make the call tonight.
What song is that?
Next.
Welcome to the Show the Art podcast. We are your hosts,
Get home tonight.
Ames Jackson.
I'm Ames Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, you're singing like Mike Jackson. And you can call me Abe the Brown. What was it called?
Miss Brown Eyes?
No. What was my Game of Thrones
Brown
reference?
Belch? Oh, what was
the
it?
Brown Walker.
The Brown Walker. We got Abe the Brown Walker Awad up in this piece, man. What's going on?
Yo, what's going on, man?
How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm in pain.
What happened, man? Tell me.
So yesterday, before we jump on with my boy Javi.
Yeah, we're supposed to talk to Javier Vazquez today, and he's just running a little late.
Yeah, we're
so
little technical difficulties. Ain't no problem, man.
No technical difficulties.
We're gonna flow roll with this.
Okay.
We're gonna flow call with this.
No. Say flow roll.
Flow roll.
Okay, I like the
You know
reference.
what I mean?
Okay.
You dig that?
Yeah.
So, dude, last night I was working at Crank Systems, the best gym in Nutley.
Okay.
And someone was helping me move the barbell or the weights. And
Just
all
so
of
you
a
guys
sudden,
know, Nutley's pretty small, so being the best.
it's huge.
Small
It's
town.
huge. One of the biggest cities in the world. I don't want to brag, but it's huge. So,
Okay.
yeah. But people are like, oh, Nutley, I know where
I've
that
heard
is.
that before.
That's like when you hear Paris and Nutley, same thing. Same
Oh,
exact thing.
okay.
New York City.
So Nutley's roughly the size of like Jersey City. Like that's how big it is.
No, I'm talking about popularity. When you hear Nutley, like, oh, I know where that is. That's in New Jersey.
Oh, and people are like,
You know what I mean?
Nutley. Oh, hold on, we're
is
in
that
Paris.
Is that next to San Diego? Oh, no. Oh, is that near
that's in New
Qatar?
Jersey.
No. It's you know what I mean?
Oh, Nutley. Yeah, like when people say I'm from Manhattan, everybody knows it's from
Exactly.
New York, like
Yeah.
instantly because
Yeah.
it's popular.
When you hear Nutley, you're just like, New Jersey.
Gotcha.
It's the best state in the world.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I said the best state in the world. So moving right along, just to cut it short because we're all whatever. We're
So
all
basically, Ames was training, and then recklessly dropped the weight on his foot.
No. Someone recklessly dropped it on me. So now my foot looks like, you know, Mr. Deeds, Mr. Sneaky. Yeah, that's what my foot looks
Yeah.
like, dude. It hurts,
Oh,
man. It's like black and blue, and it's
The black and the
the
blue.
black and the blue, man. And
It's got that black and the blue.
It got a little hint of purple, a little magenta,
Dang.
and blue. A hue of blue.
A hue of blue.
Yeah, it looks like my toe looks like a blue ball. You ever seen that before? I'm sure you have. Okay, so that's what it looks like, and it hurts to
Oh,
walk,
snap.
man. And then I
Dang.
forgot my flip flops at work because I was thinking about going to the hospital because it was like throbbing.
Yeah.
And someone was like, "Oh, they might just have to poke like a needle through the nail to let the blood
Oh,
come out, just
and
to
that scared
relieve
you
the
even
pressure."
more.
Yeah, I was like, I don't feel like going to the hospital. I'm just gonna sleep it off while I watch Luke Cage. By the way, guys, you got to watch Luke Cage because it's
yeah,
pretty
I
good,
heard.
man.
Yeah, it's like
It-
another show,
yeah.
another like comic book
No.
turned show, right?
Yeah, Marvel.
Marvel.
Let's get it straight.
Wasn't that a
There's
comic book?
yeah, but let's be specific now. Let's.
It's a comic book that turned into a show. What do you want me to say? I'm describing
Marvel.
it.
All right.
Okay, what was
When we're
Marvel
talking about-
doing? Writing comic books.
Yeah, but if we're talking
For
about
kids.
like if we're talking about GSP, where's the under?
He's
we're talking
retired.
about UFC. Yeah, but, if we're talking Daniel Cormier,
What do you want me to say about Cormier? He trains at American Top Team. He's a father.
under what brand?
What brand?
Yeah.
What company? You
What
mean?
company?
He works
Exactly.
for the UFC.
Exactly. All right. We didn't say MMA. We say he's a UFC fighter.
Okay.
Not a,
So
I'm right.
So what's your point?
My point is shut the
So
hell
you're
up. That's what my
so you're
point is.
saying
My
Luke
toe
Cage
hurts.
is a Marvel fighter?
Marvel superhero. Don't get it twisted.
Why do you have to make the distinction between Marvel? Like, what else out there is there?
Because you just
like
said
what
because you said
Capcom?
because you said comic book Capcom. First of all, that's video games. Right? You see what I have to deal with, guys. This is my partner. This is what I have to deal with. So I'm gonna give a little request, guys. If anyone wants to co-host with me, we got to get this guy out, man. We got to get the A out.
Dude, I played Marvel versus Capcom video game before.
Did you?
Yes.
Who's your combo?
This is a long
Exactly.
time ago.
Exactly. You see this poser?
That's
like me.
Yo,
that's
shut
like
up.
me saying I'm a black belt in
shut up.
jiu-jitsu.
Yo, shut up.
So we got to go to grammar school.
Yo,
School
shut up. I
tag.
played the game.
No, you're wrong. You're stupid. That's what you're doing to me.
Yo, I played the game, I swear. It was in an arcade.
So, but you got to watch Luke Cage, a great Marvel superhero.
Okay, let's do
television
it.
show. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Luke
so
Cage. Cool.
what are your
What?
I blanked out.
What do you think about the UFC getting canceled in Manila after BJ? Well, I heard that. I mean, BJ Penn got a rib injury.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. That's the rumor. That's in the rumor mill.
And after that, no one wanted it. All the Filipinos like, I don't want to watch it anymore. Yeah.
But I heard that there was more to it. I should have read the story.
There has to be.
I feel like an idiot not
Maybe
reading the story when I brought it up. But apparently something else happened in Manila.
Okay.
That
scared them off.
Yeah, and I guess obviously the BJ Penn thing. You know what? I feel like an idiot even talking about something I don't know anything about. But that sucks that they had to cancel
everything you're talking about.
Anytime they have to cancel, shut up. Anytime they have to cancel an event, shut up. Then it just sucks, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but I agree. That's the second time I think they're going to the Philippines, and I'm just surprised when they said they're canceling it just because BJ Penn is out. Oh, and we got our boy
Javier
Javi
Vazquez
is on.
All right, let's pick it up.
You start it up, brother.
Javier Vazquez.
Yeah, buddy.
How are you, man? It's Abraham. How are you?
I'm good.
What's going on, Javi?
How's it going?
Good, man. Good to talk to you, man. How you feeling today?
I'm tired, man. I got to go to this thing, this aquarium of the Pacific with my daughter. It's like, I get up at 6 a.m.
What time is it over there right now? You're in Cali, right?
Yeah, it's 8:15.
Nice. Rise and grind, baby.
So how's everything going, man? It's good to hear from you. Good to finally talk to you. I know we've been playing like Instagram tag for a while, but I'm glad we finally got you on the show.
All right, good. I'm glad to be here.
First thing I wanted to talk to you about, as far as jiu-jitsu wise, is you're advertising strike-based jiu-jitsu. Can you please give us a little bit more in depth of what that means and what kind of jiu-jitsu you present to the world?
Well, strike-based jiu-jitsu is a term that I use to define my style, which is a collaboration of collegiate wrestling, boxing, kickboxing, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. My focus when I started jiu-jitsu back in 1997 was to learn how to defend myself and learn to do what Royce is doing.
Okay.
To be able to neutralize strikes, to be able to apply submissions, get takedowns, control the opponent, especially the larger opponents. Like, how do you fight a larger opponent? I think a real good way is to take the fight to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was during that time, like, my style never became too much sport because about 6 or 8 months after I started training, I already had my first fight. I actually did a tournament, an 8-man tournament, so I actually had 3 fights the first time I actually fought.
Oh, wow.
And, so my style was always kind of, I already knew what my style would be. Mm-hmm. I had my focuses, and I was terrified of being hit. like a lot of people don't think my stand-up is very good because I never really showed it because I'm not the biggest fan of getting hit, but I'm actually very, very good at not getting hit even standing up.
Okay.
Yeah, so what strike-based jiu-jitsu was to me, basically my MMA system of strike defense and clinching and all the takedowns I would use, all my submission attacks, based off of, somebody being able to strike. And that was always my goal, was to be able to apply jiu-jitsu effectively in a combative setting.
Okay.
And unfortunately for me, I was able to compete with some of the best guys in the world, and my jiu-jitsu spoke for itself.
Nice.
The results speak for themselves.
Sure.
I never took a lot of damage. I fought, Chad Mendez, and he couldn't touch me when he took me down. I mean, Brady got the takedown, but he couldn't touch me, and I bloodied him from my back.
Yeah.
So, I know that my style of jiu-jitsu is very, very good for MMA and very, very good for self-defense. And, that's what it is. It's basically jiu-jitsu with strikes.
Okay. So basically you're kind of promoting training in jiu-jitsu with keeping the real world in mind, striking coming at you, punches coming at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at all times, So my entire curriculum that I've written is all strike-based. That's what that means, all my submission attacks, all my, people will call me and ask me to teach seminars on mounted punch defense. I go, yeah, no problem. I got a system for mounted punch defense, and everything I teach is systemized. It's systemized.
Yes.
Cool.
Everything is grouped together in a way where it makes sense, And people are very skeptical that I was going to be able to actually cover a 2 or 3 hour seminar with, a strategic way to neutralize strikes from out. And people are generally very surprised when they see, what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and how simple it is and how effective it is. I teach punch defense seminars from guard, and the drill is simple. I start everybody, okay, basically the guy on top is just trying to touch the guy in the bottom space. And the transformations that can happen in a 2 hour seminar, following the system that I teach is incredible. I'll do that same drill at the end of class, at the end of the seminar, and it's like a complete radical change in what people are doing and the effectiveness of their guard. So I'm very happy with the results that I'm getting. I think the people that are learning from me are extremely happy with the results that I'm getting because nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is taking jiu-jitsu with strikes to the depth that I've taken. I think I'm really a pioneer in a sense of strike-based jiu-jitsu. I'm not saying that other people don't know how to do it. That's not it at all. There's several guys out there that are very, very good at it. But I really feel that from every position, the amount of techniques, the amount of systems that I've come up with, the amount of variations of things, I don't think there's very many people that can do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on, because I've heard, like I said, plenty of good things from people that have taken your seminars, from people that were posting about your seminars. Now, segueing that into modern competitive jiu-jitsu, another thing that I like about you that I'm a fan of is that you have been competing in Nogi, in modern day jiu-jitsu. And a lot of people used to always say, like, if you train self-defense for jiu-jitsu, then you're not really going to be successful in competitive jiu-jitsu. But you have shown that you can be very effective in competitive jiu-jitsu with no strikes. So what do you attest to that? Is it just like a mentality game plan shift?
I try to play the same basic game. I don't like to vary myself. I can. I think I have a lot of versatility when it comes to my jiu-jitsu because I was, trained so in depth in basically the both sides of the Gracie family. I was a collegiate wrestler. So, for a long time, I mean, that was my base is wrestling. So I was already competing and winning. My first blue belt tournament that I won, I was a white belt. I was in training 3 months, and I beat the guy that won the Pan Ams.
Yeah.
At the U.S. Open back in '97. So I've been competing. I won the 80-50 trials and the trials tournament in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my jiu-jitsu career, I've won over 40 jiu-jitsu tournaments. I mean, I've always been a very, very good competitor. And modern day jiu-jitsu doesn't scare me. The modern day leg lock movement doesn't scare me.
Okay.
That's something that bothers me. I've always been training leg lock ever since I was a blue belt. So this whole shift, and this radical shift of submission only that people are talking about now, it's kind of always been the way I've trained anyway.
Okay.
You know, me scoring a lot of points is just a byproduct of me trying to tap people. You know, and being smart and not giving up position and things of that nature. So I could turn on and off the point switch if I want to. It's just not what interests me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been competing for, you know, over 25 years, so I feel very, very comfortable doing it. I'm even more excited of the possibility of doing, you know, jiu-jitsu with strikes.
Nice.
EBI, you know, I talked to Eddie Bravo about it.
Yes.
You know, we're supposed to have to talk later today. But that is what strike-based jiu-jitsu is. And I'm doing a disservice to myself and to my community to not really demonstrate what I'm going to do. And I honestly think I'm going to run through that tournament. I don't think anybody at 145 or 155 pounds can touch me when strikes are involved.
So,
and it's proven. It's not like this hasn't happened. I mean,
No, yeah.
when people train with me with strikes in a room, black belts, world champions or not, I can generally get the shit out of them.
Yes.
So you're basically saying that you are going to compete at the first EBI Combat Jiu-Jitsu tournament?
I don't think I will do the first one because it's not going to be in my. I can't make 135. I don't want to make 135.
Okay.
I probably could, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Eddie Bravo doesn't pay me enough to make 135. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I have no interest to make that kind of a lifestyle change to make that weight, but 145 is a possibility. I got to see what my weight's at right now.
Okay.
But 155 is a very. If I'm not walking at 55, it's a very simple couple. It'd be only a couple.
Cool.
Okay. So, yeah, that
At some point, I would like to do it.
what I was going to say, too, is when I heard about that a few days ago, that Eddie Bravo has always been thinking about this, but he's now going to finally introduce it in 2017, you were one of the first guys I thought about because of your style of jiu-jitsu. And it's kind of a coincidence that we get to talk to you right after Eddie Bravo announced that. So it's also very exciting to hear that you have the interest of competing in that. And what do you think about... Do you think everybody should be able to compete in a competitive jiu-jitsu tournament as well as something like a combat jiu-jitsu tournament?
You know, this is just my personal opinion. I don't understand these guys that are solely sport competitors. It's just not in my DNA. Maybe I'm getting a little bit older, or maybe I'm just a little bit too old school.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. Like these schools that solely train sport jiu-jitsu, I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people, but I honestly think they're just wasting their time.
Okay.
I think that you have to, it is your responsibility as an instructor to be passing on this knowledge.
Sure.
And if you don't know the knowledge, it is your responsibility to learn it so you can pass it on. Otherwise, all you're doing is really weakening the chain. And I've been complaining about this for several years, where I've seen jiu-jitsu guys, not all of them, of course, but a good amount of them that competitively in an MMA context, their style is not very effective. And Hicks and Grace talking about the effectiveness of jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu losing its effectiveness. And I agree with them 100%. I see it. It's clear.
Yeah, it's very apparent.
It's apparent that jiu-jitsu is lacking in particular parts because of the way the point system is rewarding victory.
Yes.
I think that, you know, these guys nowadays are incredible positional grapplers. They can pass the guard like nobody's business. They can retain guards like nobody's business. They can hold position very, very well. They have amazing transitions. They have, you know, complex submission attempts, particularly with the G when they're doing all kinds of silliness to tie guys up. But that isn't really effective when a guy can slap you in the head or punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And although it is beautiful, jiu-jitsu as an art, sport jiu-jitsu as an art is beautiful, I mean, I honestly can't watch it. I cannot sit down and watch a sport jiu-jitsu. I just have no interest because I don't see a real-life application for a lot of things that they're doing. Not saying that these guys couldn't just tie somebody up that knows nothing. Of course they could. That's not my point. Yeah. But, you know, when a guy, how much damage will they be taking in order to be able to tie that guy up?
So true.
I just think that technically they're quite flawed with a combative mindset. But that's just me, you know. And
would you say that about the nogi movement these days? How the nogi movement is like? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. I think there are certain people out there that even though they can roll like sport with nogi and they would do things that, you know, aren't really conducive to a real fight. You know, they can kind of it's just a matter of taking away those things and just kind of sticking to specific game plans and specific, because when you add strikes, it limits what you can do.
Yes.
It limits the amount of submissions you can attempt, and it limits the amount of positions you can really work from comfortably. So you have to be really, really good at specific positions where I call them bunkers. You have to be safe in your bunkers.
Okay.
And you have to be able to attack from your bunkers and defend from your bunkers. Sport jiu-jitsu, just inherently, just because of the lack of strikes, gi or no gi, you're putting yourself in positions that you normally would not put yourself in.
Yeah.
For example, you're mounted, and you're not just going to be able to keep your elbows down and your back on the ground when the guy's postured up. It's just not a realistic position.
Sure.
That guy puts a hand in the collar and they're postured up. You're not just going to lay on your back and grab their wrist. It doesn't work that way, because the guy can hit you with the other hand, and you have to focus on off balancing them using your hips. You have to, make sure to keep your elbows down, or you can hug the body, or you can hug the head on. Break posture. There's specific ways to break posture. There's specific ways once posture is broken to neutralize strikes. I mean, it's a completely different mindset, a completely different game, and it's a more limited game. So I look at jiu-jitsu as such a vast thing: the takedowns, the clinching, the offensive, defensive takedowns, the turtle top, turtle bottom, side mount top, side mount bottom, mount top, all these different positions. There's so many things, offensive, defensive, that jiu-jitsu is already like a universe. It's ever expanding. And what I've done, or what I'm trying to do is, look, I don't want to know everything in jiu-jitsu. I want to know the things for my specific category of jiu-jitsu very, very, very well.
Yes. Okay.
It's that mindset of, a guy that knows 1,000 kicks and has thrown it one time, or a guy that's done one kick 1,000 times or 10,000 times. That guy with that one kick understands the subtleties, the ins and outs, the resistance management, the timing of that one kick, and that's why it's such a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
I used to have teammates that, or I'm sure you guys know that, people who just have that one submission that is their killer submission, triangle and all, whatever that guillotine, whatever that particular submission is, and they can hit it from everywhere.
Yes.
And that always makes that person dangerous. Yes. I kind of have more of that kind of a mindset. Obviously, with the more diverse games than just one submission, but you understand the concept.
Yeah,
I'm very, very.
I was gonna say, we have a student that he's a purple belt, and his number one focus at every second during our matches, our rolls, is the baseball bat choke. And he doesn't care how he gets it. He'll give up position. But it's scary rolling with him because his grips are so strong, and once he gets to those collars, it doesn't matter if he's on the top or bottom. So whenever I roll with him, I know I could beat him on points, but at any second he can catch me with a submission. It is very scary. That's a good point.
Yeah, so, I mean, and that's kind of what I've done with jiu-jitsu. I've kind of taken the best ways I have to clinch, the best takedowns I have, the best wall takedowns I have, incorporating head movement, incorporating setups and strikes with kicks, with knees, with front kicks, with leg kicks, incorporating the best of everything that I know, as in-depth and as detailed as possible, and making a very, very solid self-defense style.
Okay.
I mean, and it doesn't translate straight over. Yeah, it translates straight across to jiu-jitsu. And yes, for sport jiu-jitsu, you're going to have to expand certain aspects of what I'm doing a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I'm not holding back from my students, but what I am doing is I'm trimming the fat. I don't teach anything that isn't really conducive to what we're doing.
Yeah, you're keeping
even
them
though
in
I
one
might
direction.
know it, yeah, I'm keeping them. I'm very focused in a specific direction, and I'll tell them, hey, you can also do this. Or if my guys will ask me, could you do this? I'm like, yeah, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. But obviously, you can't do this in a real fight because of X, Y, and Z, or look at the range here, or look at what the guy can do here, or hit you here, or whatever the case may be.
Being as efficient as possible.
I mean, it is my job to have that filter and to make those decisions. I don't feel like I'm limiting my students, because if they ask me about a particular thing, I can answer the question. But in a group context, in a group setting, I want to be very, very concise and very, very specific with what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I really feel that if you can make a very well-rounded game where my blue belts are very, very competent, standing up, they're very, very competent, if you're trying to hit them, because that's how we roll almost on a daily basis.
True.
We're rolling with strikes on a daily basis, and we've had guys come in from other schools that are higher belts, rolling with my white belts and blue belts, telling me how incredibly effective the punch defense is, at white belt.
And that's
blue
very
belt.
important,
Yeah, and that's all I care about. That's all I care about, and I want to be able to make the best students under those circumstances.
Sure. And now your students will be way more prepared, whether they're on the mat or on the concrete outside. Now, one of the kind of opinions I had on jiu-jitsu these days is that, like you were saying, the gi jiu-jitsu is directed towards points, so people are getting very good at like passing the guard or retaining the guard or holding positions. And in my opinion, that's like a very isolated. Those are isolated parts of jiu-jitsu. It's not the whole game. It's isolated parts. But at the same token, no-gi jiu-jitsu has kind of evolved to where everyone is leg lock heavy these days because that's what's working. Yeah. That's what's winning the competitions. And on that same token, it is submission based, but it is an isolated version of jiu-jitsu because now all these guys are focusing mainly on the leg locks because it's a sink or swim at this point. So I feel that. Yes, go. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to just say that I feel that right now in jiu-jitsu competition, for the most part, the mentality is very isolated, and it's kind of forced in that direction. I still feel like we haven't found a tournament style, or at least everybody hasn't caught up to what they think is the most beneficial in jiu-jitsu. So now we have isolated in no-gi and we have isolated in gi. So I feel like neither guy that is very good in either one, that is the best, can claim that they are the best. So my point to you is how can somebody claim they are the best in jiu-jitsu comp?
At this point in time, they can't.
Yeah.
And I really blame this on the guys on the gi side.
Okay.
I really blame it on the way the point structure is and a lot of what these big tournaments, these big quote-unquote jiu-jitsu tournaments are doing, because I don't feel they're jiu-jitsu tournaments at all. I think that they're point tournaments.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's winning with submissions, or very, very few guys are winning with submissions and submitting all the way through their brackets.
Yeah.
And then they're not allowing leg locks. And I said this, man, when I was like a blue belt many, many years ago, I said, man, and I realized it then. I realized it back then when I was like a blue belt or purple belt. I said, jiu-jitsu guys are the best submission grapplers from the waist up.
Yeah, so true.
And because it's not even allowed. So we have black belts. We have black belts that are complaining like, no heel hooks. You have got to be ready for anything.
Sure.
I've rolled with black belts. I've rolled with black belts at the academy that have told me no leg locks. And I'm like looking at them. I'm like, you're not a black belt.
Yeah.
You're not a black belt. To me, you have to be comfortable with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not one of these guys that starts ripping on people's legs. I do get into the transition. I do feel comfortable engaging and entangling people's legs, but it doesn't mean that I have to hurt anybody. Similar to when we roll with strikes, just because I'm hitting you doesn't mean I'm hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I know how to do it.
Yeah.
And to be comfortable in the entanglement and to getting in and out and working through the configurations and all this, there's nothing wrong with that. And I really feel that nobody can really claim they're the best, because you have to run under the same rule set with the gi and without in order to do that. It's comparing apples to apples.
Yes.
And that's just the way the world works. You can't say that you're the best jiu-jitsu guy when there's certain things that aren't allowed in the gi, and then you can't say you're the best jiu-jitsu guy if there's certain things that are not allowed in no-gi.
Uh-huh.
But I believe that no-gi is far closer. The style, the no-gi style, is far closer to what it is, far more than the gi style.
Okay.
The other thing too is when strikes are involved, I think leg locks will start to get a little bit neutralized, because as you start wrapping somebody's legs and you start getting palmed in the face, you're going to tend to go after less leg locks.
Yeah.
And I fear that combat jiu-jitsu will kind of regulate the leg lock heavy style. I think there will still be leg locks available, but when you start going after a leg lock and you get smacked in the face,
you're not going to want to be there.
Start letting go.
True.
So you're going to start to alter position, and now the amount of variety of leg lock entries and amount of variety of leg lock scrambles that you might generally stay in because of the lack of strikes, you might have to start to avoid because of the strikes. So that's another reason why I'm very, very excited. I've seen the shift into the leg lock, into the leg lock movement, which I think is great. I attribute it John Danaher and Eddie Cummings and Gary Tonin for that.
Team.
The success of that team, and Gordon Ryan as well. The success of that team in showing the lack of knowledge in leg locks and really exposing us, and I'm very, very, very thankful to them. I would not have, I would not be as involved and as developmental in my game with leg locks at this point in time in my career if it wasn't for those guys. Having to compete with Gary twice, particularly the first time, it really, really made me take a step back and okay, let me start analyzing what they're doing, and that's really helped me grow as a martial artist, which I really, really appreciate. I really, really think that it's a really beneficial thing to have things like this happen in our sport and in our art.
Yeah.
But again, with strikes, I still feel that my style is by far the best with strikes.
Sure.
And I think anybody who's trained with me in the past in MMA, in an MMA room, or has done my seminars or understand what I'm doing, I think they're going to be very, 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 very excited when that happens. When combat jiu-jitsu happens, I really, really feel that my style is the best for MMA, and I've been saying that for many years.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I feel like the success of John Danaher's students competing in these tournaments, and it's not that the leg lock game is so much more powerful than any other game in jiu-jitsu. It's just that they're exposing the weaknesses, the vast weaknesses. Yeah. Now, I wanted to get into that subject about no-gi. What do you think about no-gi promotions? People that don't train in the gi and still get promoted with belts. And then on that same token, what do you think about the people that get promoted in no-gi, and then let's say down the line they're a purple belt in no-gi, brown belt in no-gi, and they want to start putting on the gi? What should they do?
Well, I've encountered this myself. Even though the majority of my style is no gi, even though we wear gi, I like to keep the tradition of what the Gracie family has brought to America. I enjoy the tradition of it. That's why I've learned the self-defense. I've taken it upon myself to learn that stuff and to be proficient at it. And yeah, I've had the same scenario where you have a guy, it's a little bit awkward. I will admit it was a little bit awkward. I had a guy who was very, very good no-gi, who was a couple belt under 10 planet, and came to me because he moved. He moved to the area, and he was a no-gi guy, but he recognized what I was doing, even though I was wearing a gi. It was primarily a no-gi style, particularly with strikes. And he was very, very good. He's very, very good. And I told him, I said, look, I'm not going to promote you any further past purple unless you go back and you do my beginner's course, which is the fundamentals course, which teaches you how to self-defense, because the rest of the self-defense he's going to learn in the advanced class anyway.
Okay.
But I had to get him up to speed with what we were doing. So I told him, I said, look, you can put on a blue belt, or you can put on a white belt and start from scratch. I know that your skill level is higher than a white belt, but I'm just kind of, just for the sake of arguing, get through the beginner's course, pass the beginner's course. It's 140 techniques, and it's also online. I said, go through that, pass my test, and I will validate your purple belt.
Okay.
Or verify. And that's what he did. He said, no problem. He put on the white belt, went through the entire course, and I just gave him his purple belt.
Nice. Okay.
Because he's good. Because he's really good. But I had to get him up to speed with the concepts that we were doing, because he was purely a no-gi grappler. He had no concept of punch defense whatsoever. He told me that he's glad that it kind of went that way, because it kind of cleaned up a lot of the stuff he was doing already.
Nice.
So he took one step backwards to take two steps forward, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I don't like to demote people, because I didn't see it as a emotion. I saw his white belt as a placeholder until I can give him the purple belt, which he rightfully deserves. Now,
what about the people that are not involved with your school and your team? Somebody who's just who moved to another school completely, and that school, that town only offers gi jiu-jitsu. What do you think about that person? Should they be able to wear their belt, or is that just up to the discretion of the instructor, like you did?
Yeah. I think it's up to the discretion of the instructor, because I'm sure most people know out there, and maybe some don't, but I think guys who learn at a pretty high level and train at very credible schools understand that you might get a guy who says he's a purple belt somewhere else, and he comes in, he's getting tapped by the white belt.
Mm-hmm.
You might also get a guy who comes in who's a blue belt somewhere else who's tapping the brown belt.
Yeah, good point.
So it's kind of the discretion of the instructor. Everything is a case-by-case basis, and you got to be, you have to have a credible instructor, and make an intelligent decision, a fair, intelligent decision. It can't just be once because it's my way. No, I mean, like with my guy, I told him, I said, look, I think you are a purple belt. I think he's tough as shit. No joke. He's really, really good. And I felt bad, and I would warn people when they roll with them, especially guys who are coming from the school, I'm like, hey, he's not a white belt. Don't let that white belt fool you. He's really good.
Yeah.
No, this is just a placeholder. And I would warn people about that, because I think it's the right thing to do. But he didn't care. He was just kind of there for the knowledge and everything else, which is really why you should do that anyway.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, I put them through my beginner's course, and I'll tell them blue belt, I'm like, you got to go through the beginner's course. And they're like, well, I'm not a beginner. I'm like, yeah, but it's not. It's what the course offers you. Don't look at it as a beginner's course. Look at it as what are you going? Will you be able to learn something on a daily basis out of that course? And I think they definitely will. So I'm like, just take it for the knowledge that it is, and don't be so worried about beginner's course or blue belt or white belt or whatever it is.
Okay.
Take it for what it is. Take each course, each lesson, individually.
Excellent. Now, my last question before we go, and this is just a personal question for you. Who are some of your favorite MMA fighters right now, and maybe some all time?
I mean, right now, Demetrius Johnson is fantastic. Guys like Daniel Cormier are fantastic. Gegard himself is fantastic. You have guys like
how about Damian
Jose
Maia?
Aldo. Damian Maia is fantastic. Jose Aldo is one of my all-time favorites as well.
Okay.
Dan Henderson is an all-time favorite of mine, and he's a friend of mine for many years. We trained together, many years ago. Guys like Sakuraba is an all-time great. Renzo Gracie's an all-time great. There's a lot of guys. I mean, I'm very much an old-school MMA guy, but I'm a jiu-jitsu guy at heart. I'm a wrestler at heart. It just so happens that I've been fortunate enough to train with a lot of different people and have a lot of opportunities where I can blend my style, and I've learned from guys like Eric Colson, and I've learned from guys across the board, John-Jacques Machado, Henderson Gracie, Hidon and Henner, who have been my mentors for the past 11 years.
Nice.
So I've been under a lot of different guys under both systems. Rodrigo Medeiros, my black was a Carlson Gracie guy. Marcelo Alonso was another Carlson Gracie guy. I've had a chance to train with him.
Nice.
Early on in my career. So I've had the benefit of training with a lot of different guys. So I've known a lot of these guys before they've actually gone out and fought.
Uh-huh.
So I'm very what do they say? Nostalgic for some of these older guys.
Now, do you have a quick piece of advice for anybody who's training jiu-jitsu that is just starting out?
Honestly, and I don't want to sound like a dick, but honestly, really look into learning the entire art.
Okay.
I think a lot of people out there are learning part of the art, which I think is awesome, which I think is extremely beneficial. I'm very much on board with what Hickson has to say with, learning the entire art. Understand, at the very least, the basic weapons attacks, at the very least. And believe me, weapons are something I definitely want to start getting into a little bit more heavily. I understand the basic ones, but just like in real life, things don't always go as planned, and the more depth of knowledge you have in a particular discipline, the better. Weapons is something I definitely would like to get a little bit more into. Rolling with strikes is another one. How many guys have come into my academy for purple belts and brown belts, and they roll with my blue belts, and my blue belts are smacking the face all over the place, because they don't really truly have a grasp on how to defend strikes.
Sure.
And how to manage distance when they're on the ground, and they don't have a concept of what the bunkers are, what the bunkers and safe zones are when they're on the ground. So don't just. Some schools do teach the entire art. Mm-hmm. The vast majority do not. And if somebody who's just starting out, you got to ask yourself, why aren't you rolling with strikes? Why aren't you, understanding if somebody comes up behind you and puts a knife to your throat, what the first reaction should be. When somebody grabs you from the neck,
What
in
should
the
you
street,
do? Yeah.
you know, what should you do?
Sure.
What I've learned about self-defense, and this is just my own personal journey.
Okay.
About 4 years ago, I walked into Horian's office, and I asked him, I said, I want to learn the self-defense. And I'm like, you know, the Gracie Academy is, you know, an hour plus away from me. And I'm running an academy, and I have a family, and I'm doing a lot of other things. You know, I've written 15 books, and I'm, you know, putting all my stuff online. And I've been extremely busy over that time frame. But I felt like I had to learn the self-defense, really because I didn't want to run into one of my wife's uncles and have to hear a bunch of crap that I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing. But also because it is a part of the art that was never taught to me. So I went out on my own and basically learned it. Horian gave me the tapes, the beginner tapes at the Gracie Academy office, which were filmed, you know, many, many years ago.
Uh-huh.
I had a chance to go down to Gracie, Miami, and work with the Valenti brothers, who basically gave me my second layer of knowledge when it comes to self-defense. I believe the self-defense in my case was definitely learned in layers. The first layer was to learn the basic mechanics of the moves, how to make the moves work, you know,
Yeah.
what the basic step-by-steps are. Layer 2 is reactionary. You have to focus on reactions of the second a guy grabs you, you know, by the throat, what are you going to do? Boom. You have to have instinctual reactions, and that only happens with repetition and time.
Okay.
And that is something that fades very quickly, so you have to stay sharp, and you have to be doing that stuff all the time.
Awesome.
That's why I teach the self-defense every day. Every day I'm teaching some sort of self-defense, so it stays fresh in my mind.
Awesome. Great
And
advice.
then
Yeah. Sorry.
and then the third layer is applying it against a resisting opponent. You know as well as I do, when the move is learned in an academy and you go to do it, you don't have the feel for the move yet. You don't have the timing for the move yet. You don't have the setup for the move yet. You just simply know the move. And, you know, in order to establish that amount of detail as far as application, that takes a lot of live sparring and a lot of live attempts.
Yes.
Okay.
So you really see how guys are getting out. Oh, the guy's pulling his arm out this way. The guy's opening his elbow this way and then pulling his arm out. Oh, okay. So now when you're actually doing the move, you have more specific focuses that you're doing rather than a broad sense of the general mechanics of the move.
I agree with that, man.
So that's been my evolution of the self-defense. Layer 1 was learning the basic movements. Layer 2 was the reaction part of it, the reactionary part of it. And then layer 3 has been the real-life application with a resisting opponent. That's how I learned it, and that's how I continue to learn it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Now, on that note, we got to run, but really great advice. And
Thank you so much,
It was
man.
great hearing your story, man. That was awesome.
I'm excited to do what I'm doing, and I want to thank everyone who supports my seminars. I've done a lot of seminars over the past month and a half or so, which has been great. I had a good reception. For whatever reason, my seminars do very, very well on the East Coast. People really like what I'm doing in the East Coast. I'm not exactly sure how and why that happened, but thank you everybody for that. And really, if you want any information on what I'm doing, the best way to do it is either A, visit my academy in Rancho Cucamonga, or B, visit strikebasedjiujitsu.com. That has my beginner's course, my online instructional academy. That teaches my beginner's course, the White to Blue Belt course. It's roughly about 13 hours of content. It's on sale now. It's broken up into two courses, the confrontation course, which is the standing self-defense, and the combat course, which is basically everything else for beginners. The most common street fight scenarios that we cover in that course. And if anybody's interested in seminars or affiliations with me, seminars in particular, you can contact me through that site or through Twitter at Javier Showtime or Instagram at Javier Showtime. But if people want to learn what I'm doing online, strikebasedjiujitsu.com is the place to do it.
Perfect.
Thank you, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And I hope to talk to you soon, man.
All right, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Hey, take care, brother.
Have a good day.
You too.
Guys, if you like this episode, please like and subscribe on iTunes. Give us a good review, a good rating. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Just search Show the Art. If you want to give a suggestion for a guest, please email us at info@showtheart.com. Check out our website, www.showtheart.com. We're going to be releasing some new content soon in the next few months, some big stuff. Also, check out our newsletter. We give away free stuff each month. Last month's winner got a free Show the Art t-shirt. This month, we're giving away a nice little prize pack. And if you go to our Facebook, there's a link to sign up for the newsletter. Or go to our website. Any podcast episode page has the sign-up sheet for the newsletter. So check that out. And we really appreciate you.